What's going on, guys? It's Jimbo time. In today's video we're going to be doing a review of my 2018 1200 Custom. We're going to be going over the 5 things that I absolutely love with this bike. By no means are any of these going to be in any list of importance. I'm just going to be going over 5 things about this bike that I just love. So a little history about the bike. I got the bike back in April of last year, 2019. I purchased it from Motor City Harley Davidson, and I believe it's Novi, Farmington Hills, Michigan. Again, the bike had 1,997 miles on it. I've had it for about a year and a half now. Currently, the bike is sitting with, I believe it's about 6,600 and something. Oh, no, not that much. It's 6,338 miles on it. So I put a little over 4,000 miles since I've had it. I absolutely love this thing. So I guess starting with the number one thing that I love about this bike is just the look of the bike itself. Like the color scheme and whatnot of this bike is just absolutely beautiful. I love that it's like the industrial gray, I believe what it's called, with this little accented with the tannish, the brownish, it looks brown to me. Across the tank is just, I love how those two colors like pop. It makes the bike stick out. We also have all the cool upgrades and whatnot that came with the bike when I bought it. So it has the heavy breather on it, which helps to keep the bike cool while we're riding and allow more air to go inside of the engine. And then I do have an Arlen Ness 2-to-1 pipe conversion on here. Another thing about the bike that I really do like is just the actual seating position of the bike. When you sit on it, like it is a cruiser by definition, but it sort of has like a sportier feel or like look to it compared to your typical cruiser or bagger or whatnot. Another thing that I really enjoy about this bike is just the actual sound of the bike. Again, with it having that 2-to-1 pipe conversion on it, the bike itself sounds so good when you rev it up. So I'll give you guys a couple little quick little revs. Just has that real nice like raspy tone to it, and it's nice and loud. You know, with it being a Harley Davidson, they're typically known for being louder than most bikes. Set it back down, and then oh yeah, speaking of that, with it being a Harley Davidson, considered this bike to others, it's really not that heavy. It's really light, really maneuverable, can throw it around and whatnot. You can see actually on this side of the bike here on the foot peg, I actually have one of the, I don't know what these are actually called, but I know like these are for when you you're leaning the bike over, and like these will actually spark if you're leaning the bike too far. But so it's like I have it on that side, but on this side I don't have it. I leaned the bike over too far and actually like ripped it off of the bike. Thankfully I didn't go down with it, but guess I got a little silly with it. Was throwing it around a little too hard that day. Another thing that's really nice about this bike is just how, which is different compared to like your normal Sportsters, and I think to the 48 in this category, is the front tire on this bike. You can see it's really wide, you know, and that's really nice because when you only have 2 wheels, you want the most amount of traction or tire contact to the ground as possible. And with this bike having a fatter front tire, it definitely makes it a lot easier and possible to ride and still ride having fun, still riding within your limits, but just having that extra like little bit of confidence knowing that you got a fatter front tire, and it's really going to help with keeping you your bike connected to the ground. Overall, I absolutely love this bike. This bike is absolutely amazing. It's been nothing but great things to me. Am eventually going to be considering getting another bike, or maybe even one day trading this in for another bike next year. But I still really don't know about that because I can't let this thing go. I love this bike. Like, this was a perfect bike for me to start out on. So with me being, I've had a little bit of history riding dirt bikes and whatnot, so I didn't want something like super slow because I was kind of used to going kind of fast out on a dirt bike, putzing through the woods and the city and whatnot. But, so I didn't want to start with the 883. I didn't really know the difference between the 1200 and the 1200 Custom until I actually got this bike. So I was originally going for the 1200, but I ended up getting this bike because I was walking through the showroom with my mom and dad. So I told them, I was like, hey, I called them one day at lunch. I was like, I'm going to go buy a motorcycle today. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, meet me at the dealership after work. So they met me at the dealership after work, and we were walking through the showroom together. And I remember I saw this bike. It was actually the first bike I looked at. And then I walk up and I saw the price tag on it. And it scared me because it is a Harley, so they are known to be a little bit more expensive than other types of motorcycles. So I saw the price tag and I just immediately walked away. I was like, nope, can't do it. Like, it was literally like double of what my original budget was I was planning on spending. So I was like, nope, not happening. Walked away. I was looking at some other bikes, but I kept looking back over at this bike. Even though I was like looking and I was sitting on a couple other bikes, like I sat on a couple 883s, some normal 1200s themselves. I even sat on a Street Glide at one point, which I don't know why. I was complaining about money. A Street Glide was way out of my price range. But I kept sitting on all these different bikes and checking them out, but I kept looking back over at this bike. And the salesman, he's actually a buddy of my parents. He sold them both their bikes. My parents both have bikes, and they purchased their bikes from Motor City as well. So it was kind of like a family thing or whatnot for them. He was like, they're gonna sell everybody in my family a bike. Well, he and my dad kept noticing that I kept looking at this thing, so we walked back over here. I threw my leg over it and sat on it, and JJ, again the salesman, he walked up to me and he threw the keys at me, and I caught him, and he told me to start it. And I put the key in it, turned it over, and started it. When I heard that exhaust, it was like, that was it. I was in love. I was like, this thing's coming home with me, no matter what. And ever since then, I've owned it. I remember when I got it, I didn't even have a license to ride it home or whatnot. And it was in April, so it wasn't necessarily riding season. It was like 23 degrees outside, and it was like running, it was not like raining. It was like a mixture of in between rain and snow. And my dad rode it home for me. He had to ride it home like 20 minutes, and it was 23 degrees outside, and it was like sleeting, I guess you would call it, the whole entire time. But it was really cool, and I really appreciate him getting this thing home for me, and he got it home nice and safe. And then as soon as we got it home, I was like, I don't care that I got a license. Like, I'm taking this thing out. Like, so I rode it that day, and then I eventually went and I took my MSF course. I didn't take my MSF course on this bike. The company I did it with, they actually provided you a bike when you went and took the MSF course, so that was cool. So I got to do that, got legal. Then eventually, ever since then, I've been riding this thing. Right now, I currently don't have any other forms of transportation, so it's like where if I want to go anywhere, I'm taking the bike. Otherwise, I'm not going, which is been a little bit scary these last couple weeks. So far today it looks pretty nice, but the weather's been really like off and on. But that's Michigan for you. If you've ever seen any memes about Michigan weather, trust me, they're true. That and the roads. The roads here are absolutely terrible, but that's a different story. But yeah, so anyhow, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video today. If at any point you guys enjoyed what I said or have any questions, drop a comment, like the video, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys again for checking out Jimbo Time. Peace.